The rains are around, and to every farmer in Babungo, one of the 4 fondoms that make up the Babisi subdivision of the Ngokitunja, it is nature's solemn call for them to engage the new agricultural life cycle. Led by their traditional ruler, Fonzofua Ndofua III, the Bamungo people, who are culturally referred to as the Mvengo people, once again have solicited the divine intervention of their ancestors for agricultural productivity as they commune through this medium of Ngomba outing dubbed Nikai, meaning the dance of snake and fire.
The significance of this snake inside this dance is that the Babungo people are able, they have medicines that can help. If you have a snake bite, the snake, when you eat the medicine, the snake cannot destroy you, cannot bite you again. So much so that they are able to control this snake. The dance of fire is the significance of light. That the Babungo people, they are simple people, pure, welcoming, and light signifies cleanliness in the activities that they do. It is a dance which is mostly done by men who are initiated in the Ngumba society, which is the highest governing body that administrates the fondom of Babungo.
First half of this Nikai ceremonial dance, the youngsters make the first appearance, finalizing initiation rites.
When a child is getting at the age of about 7, 10 years, who can at least know something about the culture, who has already started seeing, perceiving the activities of culture in Babungo, he can be initiated in the Ngumba society. On the other hand, not all children who are men can see. People who are from the royal family, that is the princes, they cannot participate in doing this dance.
It's a free day and the entire fandom is at the royal palace. The raise supports to the encouragement of the youngsters partaking in an event of this magnitude for the first time. The Nikai drums are at their best. The newly initiated youngsters, now full members of the Ngumba Regulatory Secret Society, are living the moment.
When a child gets attained this age of 7-10, the parents brings him up. He gets up at the Ngumba forest and the Ngumba compound. He's been doctrine about the culture of the village. Then he's then initiated as a member of the Ngumba society.
To complement and grace up the festival, the Nko and Mobo mask dances take the relay. Their presence commands respect. In a complete flip of tempo and ambience, the dance becomes collective. The fun, notables and other members of the Ngumba Secret Society join the scene. The circle gets wider with singing and dancing heightened. The grandeur of the festival binds the Babungo people.
The special Nikai festival this year was under the theme Uniting Our People for Peace and Abundant Harvest. We have remained peaceful. We have been organizing the Nikai Cultural Festival to appease our gods for abundant harvest and equally for peace, not only for the Babungo community but equally for the entire nation.
A planting season has just begun and the ancestors of the Babungo people have been consulted. The Nikai drums can now rest to sound again next planting season.
This is the atmosphere that prevailed at the Babongo Fund's Palace Esplanade during this year's Nikai Cultural Festival. The celebrations did not only feature kinsmen and women of all age groups clad in their best traditional outfits, but was graced with the presence of top-ranking guests from within and without the Northwest region, amongst them UNESCO representatives and the Turkish ambassador to Cameroon.
This is a very, very artful event, and this is the first time that I see so many beautiful things in such places all together. And this is very, very impressive. Secondly, of course, this is a celebration of the people of this land, because this is about the crop, you know, this is about life, this is about very positive things.
The regional delegate of arts and culture, Pafe Olinga, appreciated the Vengo people's effort in preserving and showcasing their culture and promised government support in their endeavors.
Cultural is very rich at the Northwest region. And I want to congratulate His Majesty the Fund of Babongo.
Proudly wearing a masquerade and participating in the Nikai dance alongside his male subjects, Fon Zofwan Dofwa III showered blessings on his people in all spheres of life.
We have remained peaceful. We have been organizing the Nikai Cultural Festival to appease our gods for abundant harvest and equally for peace, not only for the Babongo community, but equally for the entire nation. And it always works because the Babongo people, they respect their customs and tradition.
Activities marking the 2017 Nikai Cultural Festival will wrap up with the visit of the Minister of Arts and Culture.
Un show culturel pour unir le peuple Vengo de Babongo et ancrer les valeurs de paix en leur peau.
Le royaume Babongo est fait d'une chaîne de montagnes où dans cette vallée c'est très fertile et béni aussi par Dieu parce que depuis le départ des Allemands, nous n'avons pas connu les guerres tribaux.
Le Nikai danse ou danse du serpent et du feu, instant de communion du peuple Vengo de Babongo avec son 25e faune de la dynastie, le Zophone de Third, consacre la sortie de la forêt sacrée, connue ici sous le Ngumba Forest des initiés, une danse exclusivement masculine.
The dance of fire is the significance of light.
La danse du serpent et du feu sont respectivement symboles de la maîtrise de la nature, de la lumière et l'expression de la puissance du peuple Vengo de Babongo.
And light signifies cleanliness in the activities that they do.
Dans un mouvement corporel à nul autre pareil, vêtu du Togo, cet habit traditionnel assorti d'une kié, le chapeau, rythmé par le son du tam-tam du festival qui est Nikai et des cordes vocales des groupes de danse, c'est désormais membres du précaré des initiés séduisent mélomanes et autres visiteurs par cet héritage culturel du peuple Vengo de Babongo.
C'est très représentatif ce qu'on a vu ici. C'est pour la récolte, mais c'est aussi une célébration de l'humanité et de la culture africaine, je dois dire. C'est très très impressionnant, je pense que ça fait partie du patrimoine, n'est-ce pas, du Cameroun frère et ami.
Le parrainage du patron des arts et de la culture, à l'image de cet instant patriotique et le respect des institutions républicaines, donne davantage de couleurs au festival Nikai, danse de serpent et du feu.
Cela témoigne de plus belle manière de ce que, au-delà des petites querelles que nous pouvons avoir, les uns et les autres sont unis pour les idéaux de cohésion sociale. Le Fonds de Babongo est en train de faire là d'une pierre deux coups pour contribuer à sa manière pour le rétablissement de la paix dans la région nord-ouest.
Par cette sortie de la forêt sacrée, connue ici sous le Ngumba Forest, c'est désormais membres de la société secrète Ngumba Society peuvent intercéder auprès des ancêtres en la faveur du peuple Vengo de Babongo pour une boisson abondante.
The newly initiated youngsters and other members of the Ngumba Secret Society in their habitual traditional dance ritual of fire and snake called Nikai of the Babongo people. messages of peace, unity and abundant harvest cutting across celebration theme, speeches and poems of the young princesses of the fandom.
We united with peace and abundant harvest. We need peace. We will not bless or serve religion. We want to go to school.
Group and mask dances representative of the Bamungu culture and tradition also on exhibition. The fandom has come to the end of the annual Nikai festival to commune with the gods of the land. They have interceded for peace and abundant harvest as they begin the new planting season.
From the little children, their messages for peace, messages for abundant harvest, that of peace and unity for the entire republic, and especially that of bringing the people together.
The culture is rich and should be preserved, a work already engaged by the government and UNESCO, but can be well accomplished by an educated forthcoming generation.
Without peace, there is no development possible. That's why it's important to ask to all the parents to bring back their children to school, because without education, you cannot promote culture.
The Bamungo people at the end of 2-week-long activities can now engage the new planting season with hopes for an abundant harvest in due time.
Magíssima. Good afternoon, good afternoon, fellow Amazonians. It's a pleasure having you with me here on another set of the War Zone right here on ABS TV. We have been having some technical issues, reason why we are coming in a little bit late today. But it's a pleasure having you. Please share the link, share the link, and invite others to join us on the set today. We have quite a few things to discuss, and I will be joined later by Chairman Patrick and Osama Thomas. But first of all, I would like to extend my salutations to our brave warriors, defenders of our territory on the ground, our citizens who are sacrificing their peace and tranquility for the sake of liberating our homeland. So I'm glad to have you watching with me today. Again, I would first of all like to bring to you some critical announcements that concern especially Ground Zero. We have received credible information to the fact that La République du Cameroon is planning on impounding or seizing accounts that have been left unattended for quite some time. What does that mean? It implies that if you have an account, be it savings or whatever, on Ground Zero, that has not been active for quite some time now, La République du Cameroon is planning to take possession of those accounts and transfer whatever funds you have in there into their treasury. We have told you before that this war which La République du Cameroon declared on us, they thought it was going to take 2 weeks, but it has taken much longer than they estimated. They are regretting now, and their coffers are running dry. There's no money. They don't have any money. And you have seen yourself that they have imposed some very draconian taxes on their own very citizens and charging, there's nowhere else to go because those who used to give them money have become discouraged because they don't see any positive end to this regime. The regime is coming to its end and they are scrambling for funds. They don't know what to do. And as such, they are now doing whatever they can to lay their hands on some money. I think Okay, I'm back. As I was saying, we have been having some technical hitches here at the studio, and that was just one of them. But that is technology. What can we do? So as I was saying, La Republic is running short of money, and they are now doing whatever is necessary to take money from our vulnerable civilian population on the ground. So please, this is just to alert you that if you have any account on the ground that has not been active for quite some time, do whatever you can to either make the account active or withdraw your money. Personally, I would say withdraw your money, because even if you keep it in there, if they continue to be desperate for money, you don't know what they can do next. And this is what they are doing, is mostly to target those who are in the diaspora, who are away from the accounts, who may not be able to have access to the accounts immediately to make it active. They are targeting those in the diaspora to seize this money and use it to prop up this unjust war that they declared on us. So please do what is necessary to get hold of your account. And one other thing that we have also noticed is that they are targeting the credit unions. They may be doing something to make sure that they have access to the credit unions, as they have been sending gangs of thieves. I would say La Republic Cameroon military to dress up as common thieves to go into these credit unions, break them, and steal money. That is what they've been doing. So be alert and make sure that you secure your money before it is taken by La Republic Cameroon. Now, the second announcement is this. During the week, we were told that some Ambazonian restoration fighters were killed somewhere in Bamenda. I think it was Nkwen. But our reporters on the ground have brought us the facts of the story, that these supposed Ambazonian fighters are really not Ambazonian fighters. These are thugs that were recruited and equipped with arms by La République du Cameroon criminal soldiers. And what their responsibility was to go out there, terrorize the population, break into banks, break into businesses, and steal money. And then they were supposed to share this money with those who equipped and assigned them this responsibility. Now, this is what happened. When these guys went out and were involved with these activities, they became too greedy. They became too greedy, and they were not willing anymore to share what they were getting with the Cameroon military. And so that is why you notice that the weapons that were seized from these guys were the same weapons that are used by La République du Cameroon military. Our restoration fighters do not have such weapons. So the weapons that were seized were weapons that are normally used by La République du Cameroon soldiers. So what happened was these guys became too greedy, and they wanted to keep all the money that they were taking for themselves. And that is how La République du Cameroon, knowing where they were staying in a hotel. Can you imagine that? In a hotel? Our restoration fighters do not live in hotels. They don't live in hotels. So these guys were so comfortable that they were living in a hotel because they knew they were protected by La République du Cameroon. So when they became too greedy, those who assigned them to do this dirty job came back and finished them. So I want you to understand this and not think that those who were killed were Ambazonian restoration fighters. No, they were not. They were thieves, they were thugs who were involved in acts of criminality. That is what happened. So I hope that is clear. Now, one other thing I'd like to bring to your attention is this. Fellow Ambazonians, this Saturday, we are having a very, very important guest who will appear in a Zoom meeting to enlighten us on the procedure of negotiation. He will be having a meeting with us. It will be a town hall meeting. This is an individual who is well informed, who is experienced, and he was involved in the negotiation that led to the referendum between Great Britain and Northern Ireland. We are talking here of the procedure that commences with negotiations, maybe then getting up to a referendum, how the process is from negotiations to a referendum, and even will enlighten us on what it takes to lobby for a cause up to a successful end. He is well informed, it's a rich source of information, and I'm here encouraging all of us to make sure to tune in to that town hall this Saturday. Let me look at the time again. This Saturday on Zoom. What is the starting time again? The starting time is it? Can the studio put the flyer up so that our viewers can see it? Let's see the flyer announcing this town hall. His name is Oliver Quinton from Ireland. He will be the main speaker at this town hall. He has some very useful information for us Ambazonians that if you are really for the liberation of the Southern Cameroons, you need to tune in this Saturday and be part of this town hall to get this information. So please expect the Zoom link, which will be shared in the various fora, and make sure you are part of this town hall. Now, having said that, given the fact that we have taken quite some time to start the show today, I wouldn't want us to hang around much longer. We have quite a few things to discuss today, so I would like to bring in Chairman Patrick, who's already logged in. Chairman Patrick, if you are there, please let me see you so we can start the program and bring to our viewers the package that has been prepared for them for today. But I hope the announcements that have just been given, they will take note of them and make use of them as need be. So please, Chairman Patrick, can I see you? Okay.
Yeah, good afternoon, Comrade Mike, and good afternoon to the Ambazonian people, evening to Ground Zero. It's one of those days and one of those moments in our history that we need to all start reflecting on what we need to do in 2025. And I hope we're going to bring you information and some directives on what is supposed to be expected for Ambazonia going forward. Thank you so much for inviting me to your show.
Thank you, Chairman Patrick, for being here, and I really appreciate you always being able to make the time to be here so that we can share some ideas with our people, enlighten them, educate them, encourage them, motivate them to stay the course until Ambazonia is free. Now, the first story I would like for us to cover is this event. I don't know if I should call it an event, but it is this thing that involves one supposed farm who is supposed to have given a Tofis a title, a traditional title. At first, some people said it was a title of Fond of Funds, but I don't know if it is even possible for anyone to give another person such a title, especially if it's not coming from a conclave of funds sitting together and agreeing to do something like that. Even the very title of Fund of Funds, I don't think it exists because as we well understand, a fund is crowned. If you are those who know the culture of the Northern Zone, a fund is crowned by what is called the Kui Fund, which is the secret society of the land. That is the society that is responsible for crowning a fund. And therefore, for anyone to give the title of Fund of Funds to another individual, we will assume that there is another structure or another authority like a Kui Fund of Kui Funds, who can then award such a title to another person called Fund of Funds. If the funds are crowned by a Kui Fund, in order to have a Fund of Fund, there must be a Kui Fund of Kui Fund to give that title. To the best of my knowledge, there is no such society that exists in the northern zone. Therefore, anyone who has ever been issued such a title, it was either a fraud or it was done out of ignorance because such a thing does not exist. Now, having said that, we also understand that there are classes of funds in the northern zone. And the person who is supposed to have done this thing is supposed to be some kind of third class, way low down there individual, and who is not even living within the territory that he's supposed to be a fund of. So this is an individual who is hiding in La Republique of Cameroon. So what I'm trying to say here is that whatever is being claimed to have happened did not happen. That means there was no crowning of anyone as fund of funds, not even as a notable of the land, because the fund is supposed to do such a thing in consultation with his traditional council, which is the Kwefon. I doubt if there is one such traditional council existing where he is. Chairman Patrick, I am here saying that Ambazonians should not be worried about this thing because it is a non-event. I don't think that Etofis can take whatever was given to him by this individual who certainly was someone who is simply hungry and wanted to swindle some money from Etofis, and gave this fake thing to Etofis, and Etofis, not knowing the culture, probably thought that he's gotten himself a title. But I can assure you that whatever Etofis got from this job man means nothing. He cannot take it anywhere and have it recognized. It is fake. Chairman Patrick, what do you have to say? I'm sure you know the culture very well, and I don't know if I said anything that's out of order here.
Chairman Mike, I think you are in order. And when people become beggars, if you become a fawn, you are the power that holds the tradition. You make sure you are there to die for your people. But some of these funds have made those mistakes where they ran to La Republique and now they are begging Etofis for titles or for little change here and there and giving him crowning him with titles. So whatever he did in Douala is a non-event to the Amazonian people because he does not have the right. Even in my village, before they give you one red feather, the fund sits down with some notables and identify or what you have done for the community and for your people, what you've done to better the life of the people before you are given that red feather. So if that guy is sitting there in Douala, and maybe Tofis got there and gave him £1,000,000 and or 500,000, whatever he gave him, and he decided to go buy some traditional regalia and give it to fees, that's nothing we have to even start talking about. If you look at it, Etofi is now going around begging for all kind of crowning from left, right, and center. And I will tell you, the reality is that guy is he is looking at the presidency of that country. And I saw him with the Ardos or the most unity, and he's been into so many different communities getting crowns. What does he need crowns for? He is just trying to prepare himself for when he comes out and say he wants to run for presidency in Cameroon. So our goal is to just focus on what we're doing. And some of these guys who were given the title of funds by our community and they decide to abandon this community, they will not have a place in Amazonia. If they even want to feel like they can come back, they will come back as common people in the community. Because the reality is we want to respect our funds. We want law and order. We want people that understand the tradition and understand that they cannot make decisions without the consultation of the people that are there. They always have most of these fundoms, they have like the 11-man committee or some committee that sit down to make decisions, not the fund. If you look at one of the funds which was paraded all over and somewhere in a boyo, that young guy was maybe like 8 or 9 years old. Yes, because he deserved to be the fund, but he will not be able to make any decisions in his community right now. The notables
Yes.
know, they understand what is going on in that community. They will help that young man to grow. He doesn't even know what goes on in there, but they respected the law, and that is what traditional democracy is all about. Nobody went there to fight. That he wanted to take over because that boy is too young. But the people understood that this is a direction. Our forefathers did say this is how we're going to do it, and they are doing the right thing for their community. And people are respecting that. So a Tufis can never get any title from any fund in Douala and think it will be respected in the Amazonian community. No, we don't care about it.
Yeah, you are very correct there, Chairman Patrick, because I think Etofis is simply preparing himself for the presidency of La Republique du Cameroon. Not that it is any of our concerns, it is none of our business, but we just want to make sure that he does not do that by trying to rubbish culture, because that's what he's trying to do here, to rubbish our culture. Whatever this guy gave to Etofis, I want to encourage Etofis because you look at him, he's sitting there wearing these things, and he wants to follow the example of Mr. Paul Biya, who is supposed to have been given such a title. Some people say, oh, that's not what he received. He received something that is called Tumfoin, who is like a messenger of the fund or something. But even then, this young man should not have done what he did. And I'm here telling Etofis that, look, whatever you got from this guy is fake, okay? It's not a real thing. And I will encourage Etofis to go back and get his money. Etofis, you have been scammed. Etofis, you have been scammed. Go and get back your money. Because what was given to you, maybe the traditional attire that you have at the cap of your head, I don't know if it is worth how much you gave this guy. But please, go back and get your money, because whatever you got is fake. It is not genuine. You have been scammed. Etofis has been scammed. That is the message. So we'll move on from this story. We will move on from this story. We don't want to dwell on it so much. And the only reason why I think we should bring it up is because there were some of our comrades and citizens on Ground Zero who were very concerned about what happened, that it is a sacrilege on the culture of our people, a rich culture, of course, that we all know, a culture that is known worldwide, a culture that is known worldwide. And we will not allow people who do not have a culture of their own. These are people whose traditional leaders wear jackets that are given to them by the French. That is the kind of culture that the people of the South, Center, and East have, where the jackets are just like they have in France. Their traditional chiefs wear jackets. That's what they have for traditional attires. So we will not allow people who don't have any culture of theirs to come and rubbish our own culture. That is not going to happen. So again, my message to Etofis is, please go and get your money back. Whatever you got is fake. It's not the real thing. Chairman Patrick, during the week leading up to the inauguration of President Donald Trump, we also had some information. We had some information coming into us that some of our comrades were presenting certain images and even a video purporting to have been sent to them by the inaugural committee for President Trump. And some people amongst the ambassador committee, some were excited, some had concerns, some were not very pleased because it looked like just yet another attempt at gesticulation, juxtapositioning for relevance, People just seeking relevance in order to say, okay, see what we have done, when looking at what they were presenting, there may not be, there's no there. Let me put it that way. So I just want us to take a look back and say this. It would be very nice if there is any Ambazonian or group of individuals who can engage in real, genuine diplomacy that can bring results to the Ambazonian people and help them in the cause of our liberation. It is a good thing. We will not condemn it. But when we see efforts that seem to be more like a show, just like a show, there's no substance to it. It's like a smoke screen. That has nothing there that can really help us in our diplomatic efforts to help liberate our people. I say so because when we look at the way other diplomatic initiatives are done here by other demographics and countries around the world, and I always like to compare myself to the best. I like to compare myself to the best. And I'm here referring to, when you talk about the best, those who know how to twist the arms of senators and congressmen here in Washington, D.C. Chairman Patrick, you will agree with me that nobody beats the Jews or the Israelites. The Israelis have the best lobbyists in Washington, D.C. They have the best lobbyists in Washington, D.C. When the Israeli lobbyists speak, every congressman, every senator sits up because of the results that they are able to get for the Israelis. That is why you see that wherever the Israelis go, America follows. They are not doing it because they want to. They are doing it because they don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. I'm here referring to the American Israeli Public Affairs Committee. It is called APAC. The American Israeli Public Affairs Committee is the strongest lobby firm here, right here in Washington, D.C. Nobody beats them. Whatever they want, they get it. When they talk to any congressman or senator, they sit up. That is what we call a lobby firm, and they take their business very seriously. But now, let's compare how they operate with the Ambazonians operate. If I ask any of us here, do you know anybody that is part of the APAC? I hope I'm not frozen again. Oh, damn. I hope I'm not frozen again.
I think you're on. Chairman Mike, you're on. I think you're on. Well, Chairman Mike, I think you are frozen, but I can maybe chip in what you were all narrating about the lobbying in Washington, D.C. I believe that Amazonians should have learned something for the past 8 years. For the past 8 years, we have had so many opportunities. We've had a lot that has been going back and forth with the Amazonian revolution. This should be a moment for Amazonians to start asking themselves, what are we doing wrong? What can we do to get things right? If we do the same thing, we are never going to get any results that are different from what we've gotten for the past few years. To have a lobby is a good thing. I'm open for any Amazonian to come up with a good lobby and tell us, okay, this guy is willing to work for us. He has this plan for the Amazonian people, and he has this timetable that he's going to get this accomplished. That is the only way we can all support and say we are going to work with these lobbies. We're going to support this lobby. It doesn't matter which of the Amazonian faction the lobby is coming from. Our goal is to get our revolution to the final position. Our goal is not to come up here every day and fight with each other. The one thing I'm going to say, 90% of diplomacy and lobbying is not on social media. You don't ever see lobbyists going on social media talking about what they are doing, who they are working for, and all those things. These are things, even a congressman will kick you out of his office if he knows that you are on social media, say, oh, yesterday I met with A, B, or C. They do not like that because there are things that happen when lobbyists are meeting with these Congress people that they don't want people to see off or out there. So if AGOVC or whoever was portraying lobbying their lobbyists out there, if they have any good option, any direction that they think they are going to bring to Amazonia, they should bring it, but not what they did because it's so shameful. That brings down the credibility of this revolution because people are going to think we are joking. One thing I told a few friends when we were talking about this lobbying stuff is I had the opportunity, if I wanted to go to the inauguration, there were tickets being sold for $500. I can buy a ticket for $500. Me, one of my friends, I said, can you come up and say you are my lobbyist? They will do that. But why do I have to go that route, knowing that we are fighting a genuine fight, that we want to move it forward? I go to portray a ticket that I can buy for $500 just to showcase, like I'm doing something to the Amazonian revolution. Sometimes you don't come out and propagate things that do not add an inch to our revolution. So I'm sometimes very disappointed. But one thing I'm going to say, Amazonians should think, every Amazonian, we've heard that every group here and there are trying to get a lobbyist. But if every Amazonian could have come together as one and say, instead of us spending money in different angles, we put this money in one pot and get one lobbyist. How easy is that going to be for us to move things forward? But the moment one group is out there running around to get the lobbies, the other group is out there trying to get the lobbies, these guys are going to be enjoying our money. But what message are they taking to the quarters that made the decisions? How can we not have one message? Why is it that we have all these lobbies? It's going to happen that La Republique is our enemy. We should have learned that when La Republique realized that we are getting a lobbyist, the only thing they will do, they'll fight people and give them money and say, get a lobbyist, so that this lobby can go to the White House or can go to the State Department and give a totally different message from what the Amazonian people are giving. So that it should show that we are fighting, we do not have a sense of direction.
Chairman Patrick, you are onto something.
Yes,
there, and that is exactly what I was saying. That's the point I was trying to make before network issues disrupted my statement, because I was trying to compare our own actions with those of APAC, which is the best lobby organization for the Israelis in Washington, D.C. As I was trying to say there, you see them on social media, you don't even know its members. You don't know who those who are actually approaching the various senators and congressmen to lobby them on behalf of the Israelis. You don't know these people, but what you do is the only thing you notice are the results they are getting. The only thing you see are the results. You don't even know who is behind those results. Now, when you take our own case, the person has not even gone anywhere, and you already you are splashing somebody on social media. This is just showmanship. It is showmanship. You're not there to give the result. You are just there to show, to portray yourself for the sake of relevance. And when there are no results yet accomplished that can show that, okay, this is the person that accomplished those results. And we have to change this foolishness that we have been engaging in and have continued to engage in, where each person is just tripping over, we are tripping over each other for the sake of relevance only, which adds no value to our efforts. And secondly, the second thing you will see is that the Israelis, their lobbies are, the Israelis are all together using one lobby organization and one organization only. They put all their resources in one place, and that is why they are able to deliver a heavy punch and get the results that they get. You don't splinter your effort, the meager resources you have, you break here, this one is hiring this lobby, that one is hiring that lobby, that one is, and then with those small efforts, you give featherweight punches. You give featherweight punches, we don't go anywhere. We need to learn from the best and copy their examples so we can do better for our people. That is all we're saying. It is not a bad idea to have a lobbyist to work for our cause. As a matter of fact, it's a good thing. But let's be more strategic and goal-oriented, bent on having good results, not portraying as if we're doing something great, when in fact there's nothing there to deliver. As a matter of fact, I don't know of any, and one other thing I must address here is this brainwash that has been done to us for quite a long time, where we just believe that, oh, if you could just get some white man, if you could just get some white man to come and stand with you on television or social media and say, oh, look, I'm your lobbyist. And then Ambazonians will simply roll over and say, oh, they got a lobbyist. You remember at the time he got some homeless people from wherever he got them to go to La Republique du Cameroon and claim to be election observers. It's the same gimmick, where people just think that if you just get some light-skinned somebody who calls himself a white man to come and stand and say something, that people are more into believing. We have to stop this foolishness. It serves us no purpose, okay? It does not serve us any purpose. Let us put our resources together, speak with one voice, make sure that if we're getting a lobby firm, we get one lobby firm, give that lobby firm one message only. That will be the one that every congressman, every senator will hear that same message. It is not conflicting with another group of individuals who come for the same cause but saying completely something else. We keep stepping on our toes and we wonder why we're not making enough progress. It is foolish. This guy must be very desperate to allow himself to be used this way. It is foolish. He's not a real lobbyist. A real lobbyist will not come out and put his face out there, and then you go and stand in front of a congressman and say what? You go and stand in front of a congressman and say what? That's not how diplomacy is done. Diplomacy is not done in public. It's not done in public. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want us to be very clear here and start being serious and taking actions that will make people believe that we are serious and that we know what we are doing. You don't go and get a piece of paper that you can get anywhere for cheap and simply splash it there with some white man and you say, oh, look at what we've done. So what? Even if you are invited to attend the inaugural ceremony, so what? Did you see how many people were there? If you are just one of them, what difference does it make? It's not as if you have access to the inaugural ground, it simply means that you have access to Donald Trump's office. Please, let's stop being so childish here. Let's stop being so childish. So I don't know if you have anything else to add to this, Chairman Patrick, but we really need to stop making ourselves look like children out there. It doesn't show any seriousness in our understanding of how diplomacy works.
Well, Chairman Mike, I said if they had something substantial that can help the Ambazonia revolution, we'll all appreciate them and we all let them move forward and give us the revolution, give us the result. But this kind of showmanship is not taking us anywhere. You can see when Efang, who was working with them, was in Batibo, Efang never came out to fight. But Efang had a pickup truck showing the people how ADF has every equipment. I sometimes I feel bad because they are our own brothers that we could have been having the same message, having discussion, planning on how we can execute this revolution. But they have chosen a different path. And that is why sometimes I start questioning myself, are these guys really for this revolution, or they're just trying to fulfill some kind of an assignment given to them by La Republique? Because you cannot go to Washington and sit there and start taking pictures and posting on social media. We've dealt with the lobbies for the past year or so. Nobody's ever seen us. Yes, he came and addressed the Amazonian people one time, and that was it. We do not want to go out there and start saying this is our lobbies. La Republique has more money than we do. And if you push your lobby and say, this is my lobbies out there, La Republique will give, if you give him 10,000, La Republique will go there and give him 25,000. And say, man, walk this way so that this thing can die. So I'm still trying to understand how and what they are thinking in their brains, because these our brothers have just disappointed us so much that I do not really care what they are doing, because they have not demonstrated any sign of maturity with any sense of purpose.
Well, as we said, if it is true that they really got a lobbyist who is working for Ambazonia, okay. The challenge is, okay, the inauguration is over, right? And if the inauguration was some kind of climax in their so-called relationship with the lobbyists, let them tell us what results were gotten out of it, or will be gotten out of it in the days ahead. What results will be gotten out of it? And that is what I'm saying here in comparison to APAC. APAC that doesn't make any noise, but they go there, in the doors of the congressmen and senators, and that is why the U.S. will stand by Israel no matter what is happening. The U.S. will give them the tools they need to defend themselves. They'll give them the intelligence. They'll give them everything. It is as a result of what APAC is doing. Okay, so let us learn from them and understand how diplomacy works. It doesn't work on social media. It's not a matter of seeking for relevance. It doesn't help you. Okay, so this childishness needs to stop. And again, we cannot continue to splinter our resources and wonder why we keep delivering featherweight punches, which are not hurting the enemy as they ought to. When we understand that working together is the way to go, then we will start getting better results. And besides, we have to make sure that our messaging is coherent, is unified, that we have one position when we're approaching Congress or the Senate. We have one position. Nobody is contradicting the other. That is how they will listen to us. And our diplomatic friends have told us in several occasions that that is the only way we are going to make any headway in Washington, D.C. If we have one message, one strategy, one objective. We cannot go with multiple objectives and we expect them. What do you expect them to do? And when we do this, we allow a lot of people to come in and do what they know how to do best: divide and destroy. They divide and destroy. That's the opportunity we are creating here. So I hope our brothers who have been involved with this will understand. It's not that we are against any genuine diplomatic effort, but we cannot keep doing the same thing and getting the same result, and we don't realize that is not taking us anywhere, and so that we can make a change and do something better. That's what we should be doing. Okay, Chairman Patrick, I understand that we started the show late, but there is one other thing that I would like for us to take a look at. In wholesome, we have seen what is happening in La République du Cameroon. We have seen that it is a leaderless country. Their leader was seen once when there was a supposed homecoming, and since then he has disappeared. Nobody knows where he is. We started the show by announcing that they are now planning on seizing people's accounts that have not been active for quite some time. And you know who respects any procedures or order in which things are done in La République. They may say they will go after accounts that have not been active for quite some time, and they may go after any account. If they see some a reasonable amount of money in any account, they can go after it. What are you going to do? What will you do? That is how they operate. There's no order in that country. So what I'm saying here is that La République du Cameroon right now is like a boat that is continuing to go downstream with La République du Cameroon citizens strapped to their seats, and there is no there's no in that boat. It's a captainless boat, and there's the very funny thing or sad thing is that there's a waterfall downstream, and these guys are strapped in this boat. There's no way to get out. They are heading downstream, and a disaster is imminent. But these people seem just so incapable of reacting with the urgency of the moment. The things that have happened in La République du Cameroon and continue to happen are those that if they were happening in any other country, there would have been an uprising already. The streets would have been filled with protests, demonstrations, asking for accountability and the rectification of what has gone wrong for second place. But for some reason, the citizens of that country behave as if they've been hypnotized. They behave as if they've been hypnotized, as if they've been given some kind of Kool-Aid, a tranquilizer that has completely numbed them and made them incapable of reacting. So I don't understand what is going on there. Is it this alcohol that they keep drinking a lot that they see the world through the bottom of an empty beer bottle? That nothing that happens in that country, they will increase taxes. There's no light, no water, nothing. The president is missing for months. Nobody stands up to ask a question. Chairman Patrick, what is wrong with the citizens of that country? Do they have brains? Have their brains been removed? What can you explain the state of malaise and lack of emotions that has characterized the behavior of citizens of that country? Because you see, they know that what lies ahead is bad. They know that what lies ahead is bad, but they are just incapable of doing anything to help themselves. What can you expect? How can you explain this situation?
Well, Chairman Mike, we grew up in that unfortunate territory, and we have seen how these people operate. This is a territory with about, let me say, about 20 million people, but there's less than maybe 400 people. That is, I'm just adding all the administrators and ministers and all this, less than 400 who are benefiting or ruling that country. And the head of the clan, who is the president, is nowhere to be found. We understand this has happened in so many African countries. When their president dies, they keep it for months. They are ruling, everybody's positioning themselves with whatever they want to steal from the government coffers. But unfortunately for them, there is nothing in the government coffers. The Ambazonian struggle has drained La Republic to the bare minimum. I will promise you, if nothing happens within the next few months, even their so-called military will not have salary. That country Because when they enact some of these laws, like they say they were going to collect taxes for money that is sent to the country, they know the number of citizens, the number of people that are living out of that country that are financing that their relatives back there. But and their belief is if everybody sends 10,000 francs or 20,000 francs, that is how the economy is pulling. And they are collecting taxes from the money that we're sending. But unfortunately, after December, those things dry down. People don't send a lot of money back there, except people that are doing construction or whatever business they are doing back there. But La Republique is at the point where each and everyone who is in that country should be looking for a place to hide their head. Because a 92-year-old, I don't even know how to call if he's a leader, where is he? How can you see your leader twice a year, 20th, 11th February, and New Year's Day? Who is he leading? Are the people goats? Can he not come out and say, okay, this is what is going on in the country? So La Republique is a country that has failed. They are just holding it like an egg, even though they know that there is a cliff coming. But nobody has the guts to come up and say, we have to change something. Because the less than the 2,000 or 1,000 people that are ruling the country, they are getting what they want. So they are making the rules for the rest of the millions of people. And they are deciding what goes on and what doesn't go on. That is why if you see today, when you saw like the election is coming at the end of this year, what have you seen? You hear about all the construction projects that they are talking about. You hear about Ekodo Titi. You hear about everywhere they will talk about all the contracts that have been given out. But unfortunately, these contracts, they all drag until exactly after the elections. We don't hear anything about any of these contracts. This has happened since this guy got to power from 1982 to today. But the people are still there saying, oh, our leader, the national cake. How can people be this dumb? The people need to come out and take their country back. It's better for us to start from afresh than to go forward when there is a cliff waiting for everybody to drown in.
Yes, like you have rightly said, Mr. Biya comes out twice a year. And even the last time he came out with a so-called end of year speech, I think we analyzed that speech during our last show. And we don't believe that that was Paul Biya live. It was a doctored picture of Paul Biya to show a semblance of him being alive and being able to deliver that speech. But as you rightly said, you see, as long when you look at even and I'm glad that Honorable Sama Thomas is joining us. I'll give him the word after this. When you look at what the sequence of activity that is supposed to take place in La Republique this year 2025, they are supposed to have elections, and to the best of our understanding, at this point in time, you would think that there should be already a clear outline of activities leading up to that election. I don't know if you have heard it, but I don't know when that election is actually going to take place. I don't know if the campaign period, what the campaign period will be. When are they supposed to start campaigning for their elections? Who are the candidates that will be contesting for the position of president? And I think during the week we saw another poster which said Camto is considered not qualified. I don't know how true that is, but there was a caption like that in one news headline. So we don't even know the candidates that are supposed to be contesting for these elections. We don't know the modalities for the election, who is supposed to supervise the elections, how would the counting of the results be done, and ultimately announcing the results. Because in La République du Cameroon, everything is just a charade. Because as long as Paul Biya is a candidate for such elections, even if he is trapped to a stretcher, he will win that election. That is certain. So any election in that country is a formality until. And first of all, we want to say this, and very emphatic. There is no election that will fix what is wrong with La République du Cameroun. No election can fix it. None. If there's going to be a change in La République du Cameroun, it will come through a revolution. That criminal regime must be overthrown in order for any meaningful change to happen there. If they hope that an election, a new election will simply bring change there, they are wasting their time, because it simply will not happen. Honorable Senator Thomas, I want for you to give your own, and I know that we have discussed quite a few things. You are free to go back and comment on any of the topics that were discussed earlier, but if you can just address this point first before going back to those topics, if you so wish. Officer Thomas, I hope you're still in there. Officer Thomas, can you hear me? He seems frozen. I think Officer Thomas, you are frozen. Please log back off and come back in. I can see you clearly, but you seem not to be able to hear me. So log off and log back on. Sorry, Chairman Patrick, as we were saying, do you think that conducting a new election in La République du Cameroun can bring about any change in that place? Is it possible under the current scenario?
If I can remember right, Chairman Mike, the last election in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, this so-called president was able to campaign once. Just when I say once, he went to Garoua. That was the only day he went out to campaign. And he won by a landslide. Mm-hmm. So if you sit here and tell me there's anything that can change that country through election, you are lying to yourself. How can somebody win an election? People don't even see him come out to tell them what vision, what mission, what prospect he has for the country.
I remember that period, because when he went up there, he was supposed to come to Victoria next, but it was cancelled because I think he became too weak and he could not stand another stop down in Victoria, and he went home, and that was it until election day, and he won. So I just wanted to emphasize your point. Continue.
So one thing I'm going to tell them is I'll just give a quick example of people who captured their country, who captured their people and felt like they were invisible. We have a good example like Samuel Doe, Mobutu, we have Kabila, Yahya Jammeh. These are all African leaders that thought they were untouchable. They already had their country to the point that nobody could do anything for them. But most of these people, the only one that is even alive somewhere is Yahya Jammeh, because he ran away. But one thing Cameroon is going to understand is these guys that think they have captured this country, they have taken it to be their personal and private property. No matter, even if Ambazonia is going tomorrow, somebody in their territory is going to bring them down one day. They cannot do this to their own people and think it's going to be business as usual. People are getting frustrated.
To add to your point there, Chairman Patrick, I think Ambazonia is being used as a tranquilizer to keep La République du Cameroun citizens docile and hoping that, after all, as bad as the situation may be, we are not as bad as the Southern Cameroons and Ambazonians. And this is the same mentality this is the same mentality that slave owners used in those days in the US here, because they were telling their poor whites, who some of them were even more miserable than the supposed blacks or slaves. They were appeasing them that, look, as bad as your situation may be, you are not as bad as these slaves. So you should be happy being where you are, because at least you are a white man and you are not as bad. When in reality, they were suffering in misery. We studied this thing in school, in college, and And that's how they try to manage the poor whites who were living in really terrible conditions. The rich plantation owners and the rich ones were telling them that, look, as bad as the situation is, you are not as bad as these whites, so you should be contented. Yeah, I was just trying to emphasize your point there. I don't know if
So what
Go
you're
ahead.
saying is exactly what some of these people think. They think their leader, or they're going to get one day to the point where the leader is going to do anything for them. I'll tell you, one of the reasons that you see these people die in Amazonia is because they have gone down there and seen they have seen what Amazonians can do for themselves, and they feel jealous. If you go to the southern part of their country, if you go to the east and all the other areas that are controlled and led by their own people, they do not even have half of what Amazonians are having, because we use our own money to build our schools. We use our money to build pipe-borne water for our people. We are doing this for ourselves. That's why we don't even need a government to do anything for us. So these people are suffering. They are worse than anybody can think of. But just because they think in their brain, the only thing they think about is we have power. But they don't even care if the power is doing them any good. They just want to say, oh, Pobia is from a village, or Atanganji is from here, or whoever is our leader. That's all what they want to know. But these guys,
yeah,
I've talked to people from that part of the country. People are going for months without salaries because they are using the salary to pay the military, using the money to pay salary to the people in the Amazonian area, because they know if these people come up one day on the street, it's over for them. But the people back there, they don't care. They are not going to come out on the street because they don't. To them, oh, it's our government. We cannot bring it down. We cannot say, oh, the government is not doing this. But they are suffering worse than anybody can ever imagine.
They are suffering. They are suffering because, first of all, like you rightly said, they are not people they are not ingenious. They are not creative. They depend on their so-called government to do everything for them. Unlike us, we build our own schools. You know, like people in Cameroon, they will just say, "Oh, you have a school, you have a high school, you have," but they are not there like before, where they used to build these schools and hand over. They are not building anything anymore. So it is up to the community now to provide the structures. They simply sign and give you a paper that you have a school, but there's no school there. You have to build it yourself. We know how to do that because we are organized. We know how to. We are self-reliant. We build our own schools ourselves through our PTAs and stuff. That is why when they come to our territory and see the schools that we have, they are amazed. They are really amazed that we have such structures. How you know, in the southern zone and in the northern zone, I'm sure you've seen some schools that recently up in the north. The walls that were built with mud and pieces of sticks, the walls actually fell on some of the children, and they were trying to pull them out, and some of the children were seriously hurt. And in the south, this is a place where they still go to school under trees. Under trees. This is 2025 we're talking about. They go to school under trees, including what is they call a technical high school. They go to school under trees. Like, I mean, like seriously, at this point in time, these people still don't have anything. Elections will not fix that country. You need to completely tear down that thing. And when I look at them, I don't see anybody who has the guts to do it. And that is why we Amazonians must disentangle ourselves from this mess. Because as long as we continue to be hinged to the waist with these people, there is no hope, there's no future for us. When we continue to share in their misery as a result of not just the bad governance, but the wickedness of this regime, where someone who is 92 years old, mentally incapable, is not, his cognitive resonance is completely gone. and he is hanging in there, not because of even his own will to be there, because those that are surrounding him are benefiting from this emptiness of leadership. They want him to be there so they can continue to do whatever they want and say, oh, it's Paul Biya, when actually they are the ones now plundering whatever meager resources are left in that God-forsaken place. We cannot continue to allow ourselves and our people to share in this misery that is caused by human action or inactivity or bad leadership. That is what it is. We should not be suffering because we have enough resources and the ability to manage them and bring prosperity and happiness to our people. But we're not allowed to do so. We're not allowed to do so. So I don't know if Chairman, Sama Thomas was able to log back in. Is he able to log back in? I don't see him. I don't see him.
No, I'm back in.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Sama, can you hear me? He is frozen again. He is frozen again. Chairman Patrick, yes, let us talk about something else within Africa. There's something else within Africa. We have seen our very courageous and brave leaders of the Sahel come together and do what well-meaning, patriotic leaders do for their people. They are courageous enough to stand up against those who have been responsible for the misery and suffering of our people for quite some time now. And it is rather unfortunate and shameful that other African leaders are not stepping up to at least support them and emulate their example. But it is becoming undeniable that the African continent is responding very positively to what is happening in the Sahel. And as has been the case before, we have seen that the enemy is now teaming up with those from amongst us. They will call rebels, but these are recruits, ignorant members of our society who are recruited, and they call them terrorists or whatever, and they are bent on destabilizing these Sahel brothers. I'm here referring to Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. So they are bent on destabilizing it and making sure that these leaders are overthrown. But I like the strategic thinking of these brothers who, realizing that on their own power individually, they stand no chance of resisting the assault of the enemy. They have come together to, and I was just reading today that they have decided to form a defense alliance that will be responsible for going after these imperial-sponsored destabilizers or criminals that are bent on destroying what they are trying to build in the Sahel. But we have seen how these brothers are celebrated. Wherever they go, they are celebrated so very much. And they are loved and praised by the rest of the African continent, who now see them as the hope for a new caliber of leaders here in Africa. So let me ask you, Chairman Patrick, who do you think is so bent on destabilizing or at least undermining the good leadership that these brothers are trying to show to the rest of Africa? Who is responsible for this? Who can be behind the sponsorship of these so-called criminal groups that are trying to undermine Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso? Who is behind it?
Chairman Mike, there are no two ways about it. France is responsible for all what is going on in the Sahel. If you see last year, sometime last year, when these guys were already backing away from France, France had to run up to Morocco to make sure they signed an alliance with Morocco just because they wanted to subdue there's one other territory out there that the people are trying to run back away from Morocco. So they had to go sign a deal because they needed that area. If you are following that particular part of Africa, last week there were Moroccan truck drivers who were carrying goods from Morocco by road to Niger, and they were all kidnapped. They were all picked up. Some of these things are the kind of things that you will see that was happening in Israel. People were coming in as truck drivers, but they were carrying weapons to bring to the Gaza area. That is why Israel is fighting. So if you see what is going on in the Sahel, it's mostly what France is telling Morocco, you do this for me, we're going to make sure I can't even remember the name of that territory that has been fighting with Morocco for all these years, that we are going to make sure they do not get independent. So France is sponsoring these people, making sure they give as much money to Morocco to keep terrorism in that area. So it's all a French orchestrated apparatus that is trying to destabilize the Sahel. But one thing I'm going to say is, if you listen to the new French and US administration, you will watch and see that France is so scared because they do not have a traditional diplomatic president in America. This is a guy that doesn't go by the norms in every aspect of it. So if France make any mistake, they will be on their own, and the US is going to do whatever they want to do on their own too. And the US, they have the money, they have everything they need to do whatever they want to do all over the world. So France is trying to destabilize the Sahel, but I will tell you, the US is going to sign deals with the Sahel. Keep watching. With Timo Nash back in that area, he understands what is at stake around there. He understands what the US stand to gain by signing those deals. Where was the last international trip that Biden made? That was in Africa. Even though he went to Angola, they understand what is going on in that part of the world, that they need to have certain deals. So France, you are screwed. You are not going to succeed this time because you have destroyed Africa. I heard the French president say, oh, the African countries did not even say thank you to them for doing what they've done for them for all these years. Are you kidding me? If you go by every example, you go by Cameroon, Chad, Ivory Coast, Senegal, all these countries that have any affiliation with France, show any of them that is even showing any sign of independence or development. No, they are at the same spot, but dealing with France every day, and France keep giving them all the so-called whatever they gives every year. They give them a certain amount of money for the leaders. They are not doing anything that will help these countries to move forward. So it's so unfortunate that these guys are going through a lot, but their pact that they've signed,
But
and I'm
yeah,
going to tell
yeah,
you, the
yeah.
one
Trump,
other thing that you'll see is,
go ahead,
I'm
make
just
your
trying
point.
to I'm just trying to add what with the new president of Ghana. Ghana is right there
Yes.
in the middle of all these guys. The new president of Ghana is an intelligent guy. He understands what
Yes.
is going on in that area. When he was there before, he moved Ghana to a different level when it comes to infrastructure and democracy, and even corruption was down before this other guy who just left that came in and tried to
Yes.
destroy Ghana. So France should be very worried. France should be very worried. But they need to stop, because you want to create friendship with the young African nations. Don't make them angry. All their youths are against the French hegemony in Africa. So I don't know why France is not even using their brain to think that they have to do the right thing for the African countries if they want to keep their business interests in those areas.
Yeah, and the reason I brought up this topic is for us to ask ourselves, we as Ambazonians, what can we learn from the example of these three brothers? What can we learn from it? We remember, Chairman Patrick, when they came up and they announced, when they came up and they took over power in their three countries, and the next thing they did was they looked at the way the various organizations within Africa were working. I'm here referring to the African Union and ECOWAS. And they realized that these structures were not established to serve the interests of the African people. And the first thing they did was they distanced themselves from ECOWAS. And the other leaders of ECOWAS were furious. We remember some time ago, ECOWAS was trying to have a common currency, the ECO. And France, Macron personally took several trips to West Africa, and especially was able to convince the then leader of Ivory Coast to start that initiative. And today, the ECO is dead in water. The ECO is dead in water because of how much money France is making with the circulation of their phony CFA in Africa. So these brothers said, you know what, we are done with ECOWAS. And immediately they made that announcement. There was a mobilization, which was led by Nigeria, of course. Tinubu was trying to spearhead and to form a coalition that could attack Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. And what did they do? What did they do? They decided to form this alliance, and they said, just like you have NATO, they said, you attack one of us, you attack all of us. And when you look at Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, they control a territory in that region. And for you to go in there and attack them, you need to have the means to cover that territory. And the force of their coming together was enough to fend off the threat of a military invasion by the rest of the ECOWAS states. And that is how they survived. And that's why I'm bringing this story, so that we understand the power of unity. The power of unity, and that is what we Ambazonians have to learn from this example. Imagine if we were able to come together, stand as one people with one purpose, committed to the same cause, and managing our resources together to fight for our freedom. La République will not be able to stand a chance. The only reason why this thing is taking so long is because we are not fighting together. Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are going to survive. They are going to survive. Nothing is going to happen to them. And I would like to take this example, this opportunity here, to warn France. To warn France. France should be very, very careful. They should be very, very careful, because what they have done in the past is to make sure that they don't allow any good leader to come out of Africa and truly serve its people, because they don't want to set that precedence of good leadership and results that others may then want to copy. That's why whenever a leader comes up that wants to truly serve his people, what they do is they kill that person, or they chase him out of power. We remember what happened to Patrice Lumumba. We remember what happens to Sankara. John Magufuli, who died, down south there, one of the states in South Africa. A very good leader, suddenly dead. We don't know how that happened. But when you see these sit tight, unproductive dictators like Paul Biya and the rest, they will allow them to stay because they serve their interests. So what I'm trying to say here is this: France should be very careful, because these leaders are being looked up to by the rest of Africa. This is not the 1990s or the 1980s. They should be very careful. If one of these leaders, if anything should happen to one of these leaders, if anything should happen, you saw how the reception that Captain Traore received when he went to Ghana. And you see the reception they receive whenever they come out to the public. If anything should happen to any of these guys, France will pay a heavy price. And I'm encouraging all Africans to speak up. You don't have to be a leader. That if anything should happen to any of these guys, all French in Africa should be at risk. That is how we protect. We cannot sit and allow it to happen. Then we start wishing that if we had done something. We should be able to speak up now and make them understand that there will be consequences if anything should happen to any of these leaders. Because they have already made attempts on their lives, several of them. They've made attempts on their lives. And this nonsense has to stop. They have to stop killing our good leaders. Then when they kill our good leaders and put in place these dictators who cannot deliver for their people, and then when our people having no other choice but to run away to their own countries, they start chasing us back and telling us that we are not welcome, that we are illegal immigrants. But then they come and they destabilize our own countries and they put unproductive tyrants who only terrorize and plunder our resources. This nonsense has to stop. We cannot allow these good leaders to be eliminated like they eliminated the others, like the Sankaras and the Lumumbas. This must not happen this time. We have to stand up and protect these brothers who are doing the right thing for their people. Their people are happy with their leadership. If there's anyone to reject them, it should be their people and no one else. I just want to make that point, and I hope that this message is echoed everywhere across the African continent, that enough of these imperialists coming in and killing our good leaders and in turn giving us dictators who do us no good, but to kill our people and plunder our resources and allow them to come and take our resources for free. Chairman Patrick.
Well, Chairman Mike, you've already enumerated everything that is going on in that area and what has been going on, what the people, the love that the people have shown to their leaders. I still do not understand how, when people love their leader, France doesn't like that. France wants those that sit there, listen to them, and give them what they want, so that you are against your people, and you create a division in your territory so that some people like you, some people don't like you. People are always fighting. France is selling weapons that they buy from America, sell to Africa, just that you keep killing your own people. What is wrong with our own people? Why is France not able to say, get up like Germany? Germany is developing. They have all the infrastructure. They have all the factories, everything that they need to create employment for their own people. They do not have colonial territories that they are getting from so that they can sell to the rest of the world. So it is so unfortunate that France is doing what they are doing in Africa, but we have seen that Burkina Faso, Niger, and the rest, they and nobody's going to stop them. They are moving things forward in their area, and nobody's going to stop them. And that is an example for all the other African countries that have a sit-tight leader, because you have to start taking your destiny in your own hand. If you don't do it, these guys will not do it for you. The young Africans, and I'll give an example in La République. The youth of La République should start thinking. If you look today, the new president of America said he's going to be shipping foreigners out of his territory. Why are we running to his territory? Don't we have what it needs to be sustainable, to be self-sufficient? Why are we all running to somebody else's land because they are using their taxpayers' money to build infrastructure for their people? Sometimes I don't even blame Trump. He's doing some good things and he's doing things that are not right. But at the end of the day, you have to have some law and order in your country, and the law and order is supposed to go with clear democratic principles. So this is an example. If I were Trump, I would, as I said this before, Trump is supposed to even impose taxes on these African leaders that their citizens are running to America. Say if you have 10,000 of your citizens in this country, you will give us this amount of money because we are paying for their healthcare. We'll give them food stamp so that they can also do whatever we have to do to take care of your people, you pay for it. These people are going to sit up and start doing the right thing for their own people.
Yes, you are very right, and I will agree with our comrade here, Grace Green, that as from now on, as from now henceforth, all African leaders, all Africans, and African diaspora must revenge anything that happens to any Pan-African leader. That should be the mindset going forward. That is the way to go. We must defend these our leaders. We cannot allow it up to those who want to see us continue to suffer, to continue doing this to us. Every African, and if you are a Pan-Africanist who wants to see Africa prosper, you must say no to anything that happens to any of our Pan-African leaders. If anything happens to any of them, there must be consequences. There must be consequences on those who are responsible. This nonsense must stop. So, yes, Chairman Patrick, I think we have covered most of what prepared for our viewers today. But before we go, we have to remind them of this. If you have any account on Ground Zero, since La Republic is still illegally coming into our territory and carry out illegal operations, if you have any money there, please either withdraw it or make sure that you show some activity in that account. And then one other thing is there's a town hall coming up on Saturday, a town hall where we will have somebody speak to us about negotiations, the referendum process, and how to transition from negotiation to referendum to freedom, just like the case was with the UK and Ireland. So please make sure you look for the link for that town hall this Saturday. This Saturday, it's something you cannot miss it. You cannot afford to miss it. It will be very informative. It will give you information to understand the process, how the process is handled, the experience that he had managing the situation between the UK and Ireland, and he has been involved in other conflict regions as well, so he knows exactly how the process works. So I'm inviting you to be part of that town hall this Saturday. Now, again, with regards to the supposed award of a cultural title to Etofis, my message to Etofis is this: please go after this rascal fund and get your money back. That was a scam. It was a scam. Whatever you got from him, it means nothing. It's a scam. It means nothing. So go get your money from the so-called fund. What he gave you has no value. It has no value. Again, with regards to Ambazonia's diplomacy, please, let's come together and do real diplomacy. Let's stop this gesticulation, people are convulsing and trying to make people believe that they are doing something that is beneficial for the Ambazonian people when there's no there. Let's come together, put our heads together and do real diplomacy that will bring benefits to our cause. Again, like I said, let's follow the example of the Israeli lobby firm AIPAC. Let's follow their example. They don't go on social media to announce what they are doing. You just see the results. You see the results because they know how to walk the doors of Congress. Let's follow their example and do the same for Ambazonia. And again, fellow Ambazonians, if you look at the way the Sahel brothers are surviving, they are surviving because they have decided to come together. They realize that their survival depends on them coming together, working together, having an alliance. And that alliance has been able to fend off the threat to their collective survival. So they are surviving, and they are even attracting the attention of other countries that are looking at their example and seeing what they are doing, and the admiration that their people have for them, and they are looking at them with admiration, and they want to follow their example. I think Samuel Thomas was trying to call me, but we are almost at the end of the show now. I don't know if you have a few seconds to say something there, Chairman Patrick. A few seconds, just a few seconds before we round up. If you have something to say, please go ahead.
Well, Chairman Mike, again, thank you so much for inviting me to your show. This message is to all Amazonians. We have a unique opportunity. Two things in our favor. La Republic is going to have elections this year. And during election, that is when you see the vulnerability of any area. You saw that in the United States. This person is insulting the other person. They're fighting over little things here and there. The second thing is Thibault Nash, who has fought, who has cried, who has pleaded, who has given us the opportunity to talk, is back with his U.S. State Department. But this guy cannot do anything if we cannot come together and talk to him. He is now working for the United States. He is not working for himself. He cannot make any decisions. He cannot come up and decide this is what is happening. But if we go as one, people that need help, and talk to these people and talk to this guy, he can take our message to higher heights. It is our moment. Whatever division, whatever hatred, whatever frustration you had with anybody within the Amazonian government, Amazonian structures, please put your egos down. Let's come together. And I'm going to call a few names of those who we expect to come together and ask their own brothers that it's a moment for us to come together and talk. Well, I'm going to skip that part. Might have to call the name some other time, but this is our moment. Every Ambazonia is supposed to start telling their leader, let's go to the consultative group. They have a few leaders there. But one thing I always say, as we are Ambazonia, we know our weaknesses. Some people might be in that consultative group. Some people might be somewhere else who are being sponsored by the Republic. But whichever direction we go, it's always good to walk with caution, proceed with caution. If we are meeting Thibault Nash, let's know we have a plan to have the same message, not to go in front of him and show our vulnerability and make him feel like he is stupid or he doesn't understand what's going on. This guy knows Amazonia, he knows our frustration, he knows our challenges. Let's use this opportunity to conclude this revolution in 2025. Thank you and good night to every Amazonian.
Oh, thank you, Chairman Patrick. Thank you again for coming on board. It was a pleasure having you. Fellow Ambazonians, we are almost at the end of the show now, so I want to thank you for staying in with us. And please, for those who were not able to join us, you can share the link so they can have access to the information that we have put out here, especially to those with regards to what is happening on the ground, where La Republic is trying to take advantage of those with dormant accounts and to seize the money, and they are targeting those of us in the diaspora to take our money. So please make sure you get hold of your money before it gets into their hands. Again, I'd like to thank Ground Zero, thank our brave warriors for standing up and defending our territory. I always like to caution them, please, whatever you do in your operational tactics, please avoid anything that will hurt our civilian population. We are out to protect them. You are there to protect them and make sure they are safe. So make sure that in your encounters with the enemy, you minimize anything, any actions that will cause harm to our civilian population. Please do so. We beg of you to do that. So, fellow Ambazonians, it was a pleasure having you. You do well to take good care of yourselves, and as you do so, take care of each other. And with that, I would say the war zone is out. Good night.